That's the only thing this idiot knows how to do. Those words still echo in my head like a dull blow to the chest. I heard them 5 years ago, but I feel them as if they were spoken yesterday. Every syllable, every sneer, every laugh, it's all seared into my memory like a scar that never fully healed. But before I continue, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, leave a like, and tell me in the comments where you're listening to my story from. I'm really curious to know how far it has reached. My name is Carol Smith. I'm 57 years old, and this is the story of how a mother can turn her son's humiliation into the most painful lesson an arrogant man can ever receive. It all started on a Tuesday in September. The sky was clear. I remember the smell of fresh coffee in my kitchen as I made breakfast. Ryan, my only son, had gotten up earlier than usual. He had that mix of nervousness and excitement that only a first day at a new job can bring. "Mom, I'm going to be late," he told me as he adjusted his tie in front of the hall mirror. I looked at him with pride. My Ryan, 30 years old, a business administration graduate, so many sleepless nights, so many sacrifices, so many overtime hours I worked to pay for his college, all to see him transformed into that elegant man standing before me. "You're going to be perfect, my love. Your father-in-law will see he made an excellent decision by hiring you." Ryan smiled, but there was something in his eyes, something I couldn't decipher at that moment. Nervousness, perhaps, or maybe fear. "Thanks, Mom. I'll call you when I get out." I hugged him. He smelled of expensive cologne, of fulfilled dreams, of a promising future. I closed the door and watched from the window as his car disappeared into the morning traffic. I had no idea that 3 hours later my life would change forever. I spent the morning restless. I couldn't concentrate on anything. I washed dishes that were already clean. I fluffed pillows that didn't need fluffing. I checked my phone every 5 minutes, waiting for a message that never came. By noon, the anxiety had turned into something stronger, a premonition, the kind only mothers have, the kind that makes us know, without any logical explanation, that something is not right. I grabbed my purse, my car keys, and headed to my son's father-in-law's company. Holloway Industries was written in golden letters on the facade. A 5-story building on the Upper East Side, imposing, cold like its owner. I walked into the reception. The young woman at the desk smiled with professional courtesy. "Good afternoon. I'm here to see Ryan Smith. He started today. 1 moment, please." I waited, standing, feeling my heart beat faster and faster. Something wasn't right. I could feel it in the air, in the receptionist's long silence, in the way she averted her gaze. "Ma'am, I believe Mr. Smith is in the maintenance area, 3rd floor. Maintenance." Ryan was a business administrator. He had a university degree. What was he doing in maintenance? I took the stairs because I didn't want to wait for the elevator. Every step was a question without an answer, every floor a growing anguish. I reached the 3rd floor, followed the signs, maintenance area, authorized personnel only. I pushed the door open, and then I saw him. My son, my Ryan, the boy I raised alone after his father abandoned us, the young man who graduated with honors, the man who invested 5 years of his life studying to be someone in this world, was on his knees in front of a toilet with yellow rubber gloves on, cleaning an employee restroom. The world stopped. And then I heard the voice, that deep, arrogant voice full of venom. That's the only thing this idiot knows how to do. I looked up. There he was, Marcus Holloway, my son's father-in-law, 52 years old, owner of Holloway Industries, father of Jessica, my son's wife. He was standing with 2 other men in suits, laughing, pointing at Ryan as if he were an object of ridicule. And next to him, Jessica, my daughter-in-law, the woman my son loved madly, the one who swore to love him for better or for worse, was smiling. No, not just smiling. She was laughing, her eyes shining with complicity, as if her husband's humiliation was the funniest joke of the day. Ryan looked up and saw me. Our eyes met. I saw something break inside him. I saw shame turn into tears. I saw my son, my boy, my strong man, crumble. Tears streamed down his face. He said nothing. He just looked at me as if begging me not to have seen it. As if asking for forgiveness for having failed, but he hadn't failed. I knew it. Someone had betrayed him. Marcus Holloway saw me. His smile widened. Ah, Carol, what a surprise. Came to see how your little graduate is learning the business from the ground up, huh? That's how we all start, by getting our hands dirty. I wanted to scream, I wanted to hit him, I wanted to wipe that smile off his face, but I said nothing. I just looked at Ryan one last time, then at Jessica, then at Marcus. I turned around, walked out of that building with my head held high and my soul shattered. I got into my car, closed the door, and picked up my cell phone. I dialed a number I had saved for years. A man who had helped me with my divorce, a man who could move mountains when I asked. Mr. Peterson, this is Carol Smith. I need you to investigate something for me, and I need you to do it fast. There was a pause. I want to buy a company, Holloway Industries. I want to know everything. Debts, assets, weaknesses, everything. And I want no one to know it's me asking. Another pause. How long will it take, Mr. Peterson? 2 weeks, Mrs. Smith, at most. Perfect. I'll pay whatever it takes. I hung up, started the car, and as I drove back home, a single sentence echoed in my mind. No one humiliates my son. No one. If you've ever been through a similar situation or know someone who was humiliated at work, tell me in the comments what you would have done in my place. I want to read every one of your stories. Ryan was born on April 23rd. It was raining that morning. I remember the sound of the drops against the hospital window as I held him for the first time. He was so small, so fragile, so perfect. His father, Paul, was there for the first 3 years. Then he just left. One morning I woke up and found a note on the kitchen table. I can't handle this responsibility anymore. Forgive me. That was it. No explanation, not even a goodbye for his son. Just a note and the silence he left behind when he closed the door. I was 25, with no college degree, no family nearby to support me, with a 3-year-old boy who looked at me with those huge eyes asking where Daddy was. Daddy had to go far away, my love, but Mommy will always be here. Always. And I kept that promise. 3 months after Paul left, I received unexpected news. My Aunt Amelia, my mother's sister, who lived in Miami and with whom I always had a close relationship, had passed away. She had no children and left me as her sole heir. It wasn't a fortune, but it was 2 small apartments, one in South Beach, Miami, and another in Queens, plus some savings. I sold the one in Miami immediately, saved the money to invest, and moved with Ryan to the one in Queens. It was modest, but it was ours. That gave me a financial breathing room I never imagined having and a security that made all the difference. I worked at anything I could, first as a secretary in an accounting office. Then I got a better position at an import company as an administrative assistant. Over time, I took technical courses at night. I specialized in foreign trade and was promoted to logistics coordinator. By 35, I was already the international operations manager. The salary improved a lot, but I always saved a portion. I worked many extra hours, all so that Ryan would want for nothing. I remember the afternoons doing homework with him at the dining table. Ryan was brilliant, he only got A's. The teachers always told me the same thing. Your son has a promising future, Mrs. Smith. He's intelligent, responsible, dedicated. And I knew it. I saw that spark in his eyes, that hunger for learning, that determination he inherited from me. When he finished high school, the time for the most important decision came. Mom, I want to study business administration. I want to be someone. I want you to be able to retire one day and not have to work anymore. He hugged me that afternoon and I cried. I cried with pride, I cried with fear too, because I knew what NYU meant. One of the best and one of the most expensive. I did the math that night over and over again. I calculated my income, my expenses, what I had saved. It wasn't even close, but I wasn't going to say no. Not to my Ryan. I got a second job on weekends, teaching English to children at a language school. I slept 4 hours a day, sometimes less, but I made it. Ryan got into college, and from the first semester he excelled. He would come home on Friday nights. I would prepare his favorite food, pot roast with mashed potatoes. We would sit in the living room and he would tell me everything. The classes, the projects, the dreams. One day I'm going to have my own company, Mom, and you'll be the first shareholder, I promise. All I want is to see you happy, my love, and for you to be a good man. Money comes and goes, but dignity, that is never lost. I never imagined that years later this conversation would resonate in my head with so much pain. Ryan graduated at 23 with honors. I was in the front row at the graduation ceremony. I wore my best dress, the one I had bought especially for that occasion. I cried when I heard his name. I cried when I saw him go up on stage. I cried when he received his diploma. That framed piece of paper meant everything. Every sleepless night, every sacrifice, every penny I didn't spend on myself to invest in him. I hugged him after the ceremony. You did it, my boy. You're a professional, a business administrator. We did it, Mom. This is as much yours as it is mine. That night we had dinner at a nice restaurant in Soho. He insisted on paying with the money from his first bonus as an intern at a consulting firm. We ordered wine, we toasted, we laughed. Life was finally smiling at us. 2 years later, Ryan met Jessica. It was at a business conference. She worked at her father's company as an HR coordinator. She was beautiful, polite, from a good family, according to what Ryan told me. Mom, I think she's the woman of my life. He had that light in his eyes, that illusion, that pure love you only feel the first time. I met her 3 weeks later. Ryan brought her to dinner at my place. Jessica arrived with a bouquet of flowers for me and a perfect smile. Too perfect, I thought. Mrs. Smith, Ryan speaks wonders of you. It's an honor to meet you. We had roasted chicken for dinner. We talked. She was charming. She asked questions. She smiled. She said all the right things. But there was something I couldn't identify. A coldness behind that smile, a distance in her eyes when she looked at me. When they left that night, I kept thinking, was it just my overprotective mother's instinct, or was there really something that unsettled me? Ryan was deeply in love. He talked about her all the time, about their plans together, about the life they would build. 6 months later, he announced their engagement. Mom, I asked Jessica to marry me. She said yes. I should have been happy, and I was, but I also felt a knot in my stomach. Are you sure, my love? Marriage is forever. You have to be completely sure. I've never been more sure of anything in my life, Mom. The wedding was in the garden of the Holloway's house, a huge mansion in the Hamptons, impeccable gardens, stone fountains, catered service. I arrived alone in my beige dress I had bought at Macy's. I sat in the chairs for the groom's family, surrounded by people I didn't know, people who looked me up and down, people who whispered. I met Marcus Holloway that day. Tall, heavy-set, Italian suit, gold watch, that smile of a man used to everyone doing what he says. So you're the famous Carol. Ryan told me about you, a hard-working woman. Admirable. There was condescension in his voice, as if hard-working was a euphemism for poor. Thank you, Mr. Holloway. Ryan is a great man. I'm sure he will be an excellent husband to your daughter. I hope so. Jessica deserves the best, and I make sure she always has the best. He shook my hand. A firm grip, too firm, as if marking his territory. His wife, Brenda, was more subtle, elegant, distant. She greeted me with a polite smile and then disappeared among the guests. The ceremony was beautiful. Ryan looked nervous, but happy. Jessica, radiant, in a wedding dress that must have cost more than I earned in a year. When they said I do, I felt a mixture of joy and melancholy. My boy was now a married man. He was no longer just mine. At the reception, I danced with Ryan, a slow song, The Way You Look Tonight. You are the most important man in my life, Ryan. Never forget that. And you are the strongest woman I know, Mom. Everything I am, I owe to you. He kissed my forehead. I didn't know that a year later this same man would be on his knees cleaning a toilet, humiliated by the father of the woman he loved. After the wedding, Ryan and Jessica moved into an apartment in Westchester County. Nice, modern, furnished by Brenda Holloway, of course. I visited them from time to time. Jessica was always pleasant, but there was something. That same coldness I felt the first time. That way of looking at me as if I didn't belong in her world. Ryan worked at a logistics company. He was doing well, earning a decent salary. But Jessica wanted more, always more. Ryan, my love, why don't you talk to my father? He could give you a position in his company. You'd earn double, even triple. I overheard this one afternoon when I went to bring them some mini quiches I had made. I don't know, Jessica. I want to achieve things on my own. I don't want people to think I'm there just because I'm your husband. Don't be silly, Ryan. In this world, you have to seize opportunities. My father is willing to help you. You should be grateful. Ryan looked at me. There was doubt in his eyes. What do you think, Mom? I should have said no. I should have warned him. But I saw the illusion in his face, the desire to give more to his wife, to prove to his father-in-law that he was capable. If it's what you want, my love, do it. But never compromise your values. Never. 3 months later, Marcus Holloway offered him the position. Management trainee was the title. A generous salary, excellent benefits. Ryan accepted. His first day was a Tuesday in September. He got up early, nervous, excited. Mom, I'm going to be late, he told me as he adjusted his tie in front of the hall mirror. And I, naive, smiled. You're going to be perfect, my love. Your father-in-law will see he made an excellent decision by hiring you. I closed the door, watched him walk away, and 3 hours later, my world fell apart because I found my son on his knees cleaning toilets, while his father-in-law called him an idiot and his wife smiled. That night, Ryan came to my house, knocked on the door after 10 p.m. When I opened it, his eyes were red. He smelled of cleaning products. Of humiliation. Mom? He broke down in my arms. He cried like he hadn't cried since he was a child. He cried until his voice gave out. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry. Forgive me. I held him. I stroked his hair like when he was 5 and had nightmares. You have nothing to apologize for, my love. Nothing. Do you hear me? Nothing. That night, he stayed in his old room, in the bed where he grew up, surrounded by his school trophies, his diplomas, his dreams. And I stayed awake in the living room, staring at the ceiling, thinking about every sacrifice I made, every penny I spent on his education, every promise I made that if he worked hard, if he studied, if he was a good man, the world would open its doors for him. And the world had spat in his face, but I wasn't going to allow it. I picked up my cell phone, dialed Mr. Peterson's number again. Mr. Peterson, it's Carol Smith again. I need you to speed up that investigation, and I need it to be exhaustive. I want to know everything about Marcus Holloway and his company, absolutely everything. Mr. Peterson called me 4 days later. It was Friday afternoon. I was at the office finishing some reports when I saw his name on my phone screen. Mrs. Smith, I have some preliminary information. Can we meet? How serious is it? There was a pause, one of those pauses that says more than 1,000 words. I think it's best we talk in person tomorrow at 10 a.m. at my office. I'll be there. I didn't sleep that night. I tossed and turned, imagining what he could have discovered. Debts, fraud, legal problems. Ryan had gone back to the apartment with Jessica 3 days after that humiliation. He called me every day. His voice sounded dull, broken. Mom, I don't know what to do. Marcus says this is part of the learning process, that everyone in the company starts this way, that it's to get to know the business from the ground up. And Jessica? What does she say? Silence. She says I shouldn't be proud, that my problem is that I have too much pride, that her father is doing this for my own good. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath. Ryan, listen to me carefully. You studied for 5 years to be a business administrator, not to clean toilets. And there's nothing wrong with cleaning toilets if that's your job. But it's not yours. You have a degree, you have skills, you have talent. I know, Mom, but I don't want to cause trouble. Jessica says if I quit, her father will be offended, that he'll think I'm ungrateful. And your dignity, Ryan, and your self-respect? Another silence. Give me some time, Mom, please. Just a little more time. Time? That's exactly what I was buying. But not for my son to continue being humiliated, but to destroy the man who dared to humiliate him. On Saturday at 10 a.m. sharp, I was at Mr. Peterson's office. An office in Soho, sober, elegant, law books from floor to ceiling. The lawyer was 67, gray hair perfectly combed, gray suit, black tie. He had helped me with my divorce more than 20 years ago. He was expensive, but he was good, very good. Carol, thank you for coming. He offered me a seat. His secretary brought coffee. I waited for him to close the door to speak. What did you find? He opened a manila folder, documents, balance sheets, reports. Holloway Industries is in trouble, serious trouble. My heart raced. Go on. Marcus Holloway owns 60% of the shares. His wife, Brenda, has 20%. The other 20% is divided among 3 minority partners. The company manufactures automotive parts. It has contracts with several automakers. On paper, it looks good. On paper. In reality, they're on the brink of bankruptcy. I leaned forward. Explain. Mr. Peterson went through the pages, pointing out numbers, graphs, projections. 3 years ago, Marcus Holloway decided to expand the company. He opened 2 new factories, one in Chicago, another in Houston. He invested over $10 million money he didn't have. Loans, bank loans, with very high interest rates. And the worst part, the factories are not generating the projected profits. One is operating at 30% capacity, the other at 40%. Why? Mismanagement? Contracts that fell through? Problems with suppliers? And to make matters worse, Marcus Holloway has a lifestyle far beyond his real means. I thought about the wedding, that mansion in the Hamptons, the gardens, the buffet for 200 people. How serious is the situation? The lawyer looked me straight in the eye. If he doesn't get a financial bailout in the next 6 months, he'll have to declare bankruptcy. The banks are already pressuring him. He has overdue bills, suppliers threatening to sue him, employees with delayed salaries, but on the outside, he seems successful. A facade. Exactly, Carol. Pure facade. That's what men like Marcus Holloway do. They keep up appearances while everything crumbles from within. The house in the Hamptons is mortgaged. The luxury cars are leased. Even the apartment where Ryan and Jessica live is in the company's name, not theirs. I leaned back in my chair, processing. And does he know you're investigating? No, I was very discreet. I used contacts, reviewed public records, balance sheets that by law they have to file. No one knows you're behind this. Good. How much would I need to buy the company? Mr. Peterson raised his eyebrows. Carol, we're talking about millions of dollars. I know. How much? He did some mental calculations, reviewed numbers, taking into account the debts, the real value of the assets, the financial situation. I'd say with $2 million, you could buy the 60% that Marcus has. And believe me, in his desperate situation, he'd probably accept less. $2 million was a fortune. But I had been saving for 35 years. The import company where I worked was sold to an international group. As a senior manager with 23 years of service, I received a generous severance package, almost $150 dollars. Added to the investments I had made over the years, Aunt Amelia's apartment, which was still rented out, the stocks that had appreciated significantly, the real estate funds, the private pension, I had managed to build a solid net worth, nothing flashy, nothing that drew attention, but enough to, if necessary, change the game. I had been poor, very poor, and I never wanted to be again. So every penny I earned, I invested, I multiplied. I lived modestly, drove a 2012 car, didn't spend on luxuries. All that money was saved for my retirement, for my future grandchildren's education, for emergencies. But this was an emergency. I want you to prepare an anonymous offer through a shell company so that Marcus Holloway doesn't know it's me. Carol, are you sure? It's a lot of money and it's a risk. Buying a failing company is no guarantee you can save it. You could lose everything. I looked at him fixedly. Mr. Peterson, my son has a university degree that I worked years to pay for. He was humiliated. They made him get on his knees to clean toilets while his father-in-law called him an idiot. Do you think I care about money? The lawyer nodded slowly. I understand. Besides, if the company is as bad as you say, then Marcus Holloway is going down anyway, with or without me. I'm just going to speed up the process and make sure that when he falls, I'm the one there to see it. Very well. I'll need access to your finances, statements, properties, investments. I need to know what we're working with. You'll have everything on Monday. I left that office with a clarity I hadn't felt in days. I had a plan, and that plan was called justice. But first, I needed to know more. I needed to understand what was happening in Ryan's life, what Jessica was telling him, what Marcus thought he was achieving with this humiliation. That afternoon, I called Ryan. Son, can we have lunch together tomorrow? Just you and me, like before. Of course, Mom. Is everything okay? Everything is perfect, my love. I just want to see you. I miss you. I miss you too, Mom. We agreed to meet on Sunday at 2 p.m. at a restaurant in Greenwich Village, a small, quiet place, far from the Upper East Side and the Holloways. Ryan arrived on time. He was wearing a casual shirt, jeans. He looked tired, thinner. There were dark circles under his eyes. We sat at a table in the back. I ordered seafood pasta. He ordered risotto. "How's work?" I asked, although it pained me to do so. Ryan looked away. It's going well, Mom. Ryan, don't lie to me, please." He sighed, long and deep. "I'm still in maintenance. Marcus says that in 2 more weeks he'll move me to another area. But it's been 3 weeks that I've been cleaning, and every day is humiliating, Mom. Jessica still thinks this is normal. She says I'm the one with an attitude problem, that I should be grateful to have a job, that there are people who would clean toilets for much less than they pay me. And how much do they pay you?" Another pause. $500 a month. My blood ran cold. "Ryan, you were making $8,000 at your previous job. Why did you accept this?" "Because Marcus said it was a trial period, that later he would raise it to $10,000, that I just needed to show I was capable of doing humble work. That's not a trial period, Ryan, that's exploitation." "I know, Mom, I know, but Jessica insists I give her father a chance, that he knows what he's doing, that he's testing me." "Testing what? How far he can humiliate you before you quit?" Ryan was silent, fidgeting with his fork, not looking me in the eye. "Son, look at me." He looked up. There were unshed tears in his eyes. "You don't have to stay there. You can quit. You can look for another job. You have a business degree. You have experience. If I quit, Jessica will think I'm a failure. Her family already thinks I'm not good enough for her, that I come from a lower class, that I have no class. Did she tell you that?" "Not in those words, but I know. I see it in the way they look at me, the way they talk. Brenda, Jessica's mother, always makes comments. 'Oh, Ryan, your accent is so quaint.' 'Ryan, your mother lives in Queens. How charming.' 'Ryan, never had caviar before, have you? You can tell.' I felt anger. Pure anger. 'Ryan Smith, you are better than that entire family combined. Do you hear me? You have education, you have values, you have dignity. And if they can't see it, it's because they're too busy looking at themselves in the mirror. But I love her, Mom. I love Jessica, and I want her family to accept me. At what cost, son? Your self-esteem, your mental health, your dignity?' He didn't answer. We ate in silence for a few minutes. Then Ryan spoke. 'Marcus told me something yesterday.' 'What?' He said if I last 6 months in maintenance, he'll give me a position as a floor supervisor with a salary of $7. 6 months, 180 days of humiliation to earn less than you were already making before. Ryan, do you hear what you're saying? He's offering you less money than you were making after 6 months of exploitation. I know, but Jessica and I want to have children soon, and she says she can't raise children in a 500-square-foot apartment, that we need a house, that her father can help if I show commitment." There it was, the bait, the carrot in front of the donkey. Marcus Holloway wasn't just humiliating my son, he was using him. He was breaking him psychologically to turn him into a submissive employee who would never say no. Ryan, listen to me very carefully. That man is not going to help you. He's going to use you until you have nothing left to give, and when he breaks you completely, he'll discard you. You don't know him, Mom. No, but I know men like him, and I know a predator when I see one. Ryan shook his head. Give me some time, Mom. Please. Just a little more time. That was the moment I knew my son was lost in that relationship, that Jessica and her family had manipulated him so well that he could no longer see the truth. But I could see it, and I could do something about it. We said goodbye in the parking lot. I hugged him tightly. I love you, Ryan, more than my own life, and I will never let anyone destroy you. Do you hear me? Never. I love you too, Mom. I drove back home with a broken soul but a clear mind. On Monday morning, I went to the bank, got statements, went to a notary, organized the documents for my properties, my investments, everything. On Tuesday, I gave everything to Mr. Peterson. Here's everything I have. He reviewed the papers, did some calculations. Carol, you have more than I thought. With this, you can not only buy Marcus's share, you could buy the whole company if you play your cards right. Then, let's play them right. It will take time. I need to structure the offer, create a shell company, find phantom investors to make it look legitimate. Marcus can't suspect it's you. How long? 2 months, maybe 3. 2 months, 60 days. 14 and 40 hours of watching my son suffer. But it would be the last time. Do it, Mr. Peterson. And do it well. That night, I sat in the living room alone with a glass of red wine, looking out the window at the city lights. I thought of Ryan as a boy, of his dreams, his illusions. I thought of Marcus Holloway, of his arrogance, his cruelty. And I thought of justice that sometimes takes a while but always arrives. No one humiliates my son, I murmured in the darkness. No one. The days turned into weeks, the weeks into months. And with each passing day, I saw my son sink a little deeper. Ryan called me less. When he did call, his voice sounded dull, lifeless, as if something inside him was slowly being extinguished. How are you, my love? I would ask every time. Fine, Mom, everything's fine. But I knew he was lying. A mother always knows. I tried to visit him at the apartment 3 times. All 3 times, Jessica had an excuse. Oh, Carol, what a shame. We have a dinner tonight with some friends' parents. Another day. Carol. Ryan is resting. He's had some very tough days at work. Better not to disturb him. Mrs. Smith, we're renovating. The house is a mess. It's not a good time for visitors. Every excuse was like a door slammed in my face. Every refusal, a clear message. You are not welcome here. Jessica called me Mrs. Smith now. No longer Carol, as in the beginning. The change had been subtle, but deliberate. A way of marking distance, of reminding me of my place. Meanwhile, Mr. Peterson worked in silence, sending me weekly reports, updates, progress. I've already established the shell company. It's called SP Capital Investors. On paper, it's a firm of investors from Chicago interested in the automotive sector. And the phantom investors, 3 real businessmen who agreed to lend their names in exchange for compensation, have signed confidentiality agreements. No one will know you're behind this. Perfect. I'm preparing a financial analysis of Holloway Industries, one that justifies our interest. We have to look like serious investors who have done their homework, not opportunists. How much longer? Another month, maybe less. Marcus Holloway's situation is getting worse. 2 of his main suppliers have already sued him. He has preventive liens. The banks are tightening the screws. Good. Let him sink further. When he's desperate, then we'll strike. I hung up the phone and stared at the screen. I felt a mixture of anticipation and guilt. Anticipation for what was to come. Guilt for not being able to help Ryan faster. But I knew I had to wait, that I had to be patient, that justice, true justice, cannot be rushed. Life has an interesting way of serving justice, doesn't it? If you believe that those who sow humiliation reap destruction, type karma in the comments. Let me see how many of you believe that. One Wednesday afternoon, Ryan showed up at my door unannounced. It was almost 8 p.m. I was making dinner, roasted chicken with potatoes. When I opened the door, I was startled. His eyes were red, his shirt was wrinkled, he smelled of sweat and chlorine. Ryan, what happened? He walked in without a word, threw himself on the living room sofa, covered his face with his hands. Son, talk to me. What is it? It took him several minutes to answer. When he spoke, his voice was barely a whisper. Today they asked me to clean Marcus's private bathroom, the one in his office. My heart froze. He had an important meeting. Clients from Germany, men in expensive suits. Marcus was showing them the facilities, and when they got to his office, I was there, on my knees, cleaning his toilet. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath. One of the Germans asked who I was, and Marcus said, "That's my son-in-law. I'm teaching him that in this company, everyone starts from the bottom." And he laughed. He laughed, Mom. And the Germans laughed with him. Tears streamed down Ryan's face. Jessica was there too. She was part of the meeting. She saw me and said nothing. She just looked away as if I were invisible. I sat next to him, I hugged him. His body was trembling. I quit, Mom. I told Marcus I was quitting right then and there in front of everyone. My heart leaped. And what did he say? He laughed harder. He said, "Perfect. I didn't need you anymore anyway. You're a terrible employee and an even worse husband for my daughter." And then he had his assistant prepare my severance pay. $500, Mom. $500 for 3 months of humiliation. $500. Ryan, that doesn't even cover what he owed you in back pay. I know, but I didn't argue. I just signed, took the check, and left. And Jessica? Ryan shook his head, followed me to the parking lot, yelled that I was a coward, that I had embarrassed her family, that how could I quit like that in front of important clients, that her father had given me an opportunity and I had wasted it. Ryan, I told her he humiliated me, that her father treated me like trash, that I had dignity. And she said that dignity doesn't pay the bills, that I'm a dreamer, that I need to grow up and understand how the real world works. He broke down completely, cried in my arms like when he was a child, like when he would fall at the park and I would pick him up, like when he had nightmares and I would comfort him. I was wrong, Mom. I was wrong about everything, about Jessica, about her family, about you. I didn't listen to you. And now? Now I have no job, no wife, no nothing. You have your dignity, Ryan, and believe me, that's worth more than all of Marcus Holloway's money. That night, Ryan stayed at my house, in his old room. I made his favorite dinner, pancakes with maple syrup. We ate in silence. Each bite was a silent communion between mother and son. After dinner, we sat in the living room. I put on some classic jazz, the kind he liked as a kid. "What's the worst part, Mom?" Ryan said, staring at the ceiling. "What, my love? That a part of me still loves her. I still love Jessica, and that makes me feel even more like an idiot." You're not an idiot for loving, Ryan. You're human. Love doesn't just disappear overnight, but you have to understand one thing. True love doesn't humiliate. True love doesn't allow you to be destroyed. Do you think she ever loved me? The question hurt because I knew the answer, and I knew Ryan knew it too. He just needed to hear it out loud. I think Jessica loved the idea of you, the man she could mold, the obedient husband, the submissive son-in-law her father could control. But I don't think she loved you. The real Ryan, the man with his own dreams, with his own dignity. Ryan nodded slowly. You were right from the beginning. I should have listened to you. Don't blame yourself, son. Love makes us all blind, even mothers. That night, when Ryan was asleep, I stayed awake in the living room. I picked up my cell phone, dialed Mr. Peterson's number. "Mr. Peterson, it's Carol. I need you to speed everything up. We can't wait any longer. What happened?" Ryan quit and Marcus Holloway humiliated him one last time. "I need that man to pay now. Carol, I just need to fine-tune a few details. Give me 1 more week. I'll give you 5 days. 5 days? 5 days. All right. 5 days. I hung up, poured myself a glass of red wine, and toasted in silence. To justice, I murmured, and to those who thought they could destroy us. The next few days were strange. Ryan stayed at my house. He didn't want to go back to the apartment. He didn't want to see Jessica. He didn't answer her calls. She called my house 3 times. I answered all 3 times. "Mrs. Smith, I need to speak with Ryan." "Ryan doesn't want to speak with you, Jessica. He has to come home. We're married, we have to work this out." "Work what out?" "How to justify that you allowed your father to humiliate him for months. How to explain that you laughed while they were destroying him? You don't understand. My father was just being tough. It's his way of teaching. Ryan couldn't handle the test. That's not my fault." "A test?" "Of course. And what was the prize if he passed the test? 6 more months of cleaning toilets. Look, Mrs. Smith, I know you never liked me. You always thought I wasn't good enough for your son, but the reality is that Ryan isn't good enough for me either. My family has standards, and he simply didn't meet them. Those words, that coldness, that calculated cruelty. You're right, Jessica. You were never good enough for my son, because being good enough requires having a heart, and you clearly don't have one." I hung up before she could respond. Ryan was standing at the kitchen doorway. He had heard everything. Thank you, Mom. You have nothing to thank me for, my love. That woman doesn't deserve you. Never did. That evening, Brenda Holloway called me, Jessica's mother. Her voice was sweet, too sweet, like poisoned honey. Carol, dear, we need to talk as women, as mothers. I have nothing to talk to you about, Brenda. Please, just 5 minutes for the sake of our children. I hesitated, but curiosity won. All right, speak. Ryan is a good boy, we all know that, but he is, how shall I put it, sensitive. Too sensitive. Marcus was just trying to toughen him up, to prepare him for the real world. Business is tough, Carol, and men have to be tougher. Toughen him up by making him clean toilets with a university degree, humiliating him in front of clients. It was a lesson, one he clearly didn't learn. And look, Carol, I'll be honest with you. Jessica can find someone better, someone on her level. Ryan is nice. He's a good boy, but he's not from our world. He never was. There it was, the truth, unvarnished, without pretense. Then leave us alone. Let them get a divorce and move on with your lives. But that's the problem. Jessica doesn't want a divorce. Not yet. A quick divorce would look bad. What will people say? What will the family think? And what do you propose? That Ryan comes back. That he apologizes. That he apologizes to Marcus for his outburst. That he shows maturity. And in 6 months, maybe a year, if things don't work out, they can separate discreetly, without scandal, without drama. I laughed, a bitter, dry laugh. You want my son to come back and humiliate himself, to apologize for defending his dignity. You want him to be your family's plaything for another 6 months so you can save face? Carol, be reasonable. Think about Ryan, without a job, without a future. Do you think he'll find anything better? Marcus can help him, he can give him contacts, he can open doors, but Ryan has to learn to bow his head, to be humble. Ryan is already humble, Brenda. What you want is for him to be submissive, to be a servant with a degree, and that will never happen. Then you're condemning him to a life of mediocrity, because without us, that's what awaits him. I'd rather my son live in mediocrity with dignity than in luxury with shame. I hung up. My hands were shaking with anger. Ryan appeared in the living room. Was that Brenda? Yes. What did she want? For you to go back, to humiliate yourself, to be their puppet for another 6 months. Ryan sat on the sofa, looked at his hands. Sometimes I think maybe they're right. Maybe I am too sensitive. Maybe I should have just taken it. Maybe. Ryan, look at me. He looked up. You are not too sensitive. You are human, you have limits, and those limits were crossed a long time ago. There is nothing wrong with defending your dignity. On the contrary, it's the bravest thing you've done. But now I'm here, without a job, without a wife, living with my mom at 30. How is that brave? Because it's easier to stay in a place where they destroy you than to leave. It's easier to endure than to fight back. And you fought back. That, my love, is courage. Ryan's eyes grew moist again. And what do I do now, Mom? I smiled because I knew something he didn't. I knew that in 5 days, everything would change. Now you rest, you heal, you recover, and when you're ready, you start over, but this time, the right way. And what if I can't find a job? What if Marcus has blacklisted me? He knows a lot of people, he has influence. Marcus Holloway has more problems than you can imagine. Believe me. He won't have time to think about you. What do you mean? You'll see, my love. You'll see. That night I dreamed of the future, of Ryan smiling again, of Marcus Holloway falling, of justice taking its natural course. And when I woke up, I had a message from Mr. Peterson. Everything's ready. We make the offer tomorrow. Get ready. I smiled in the dim light of the room. Let the game begin, I whispered. On Thursday morning, I got up earlier than usual. It was 6. The sky was still dark. I made coffee. The aroma filled the kitchen and brought back memories of all those mornings when I prepared for battles I knew I had to fight. Ryan was still sleeping. He had stayed up late, tossing and turning, checking his phone constantly. Jessica wouldn't stop sending messages, some pleading, others threatening. "Ryan, please come home, we can work this out." "Don't be childish. Marriages go through crises, this is normal. My father says if you don't come back in 3 days, he'll cancel the health insurance plan that included you. Are you going to let your mother control your whole life?" Every message was a different manipulation. But Ryan no longer responded. He had finally learned that with people like that, silence is the best response. At 9 a.m. sharp, my phone rang. Mr. Peterson. "Good morning, Carol. Ready?" "More than ready." "Perfect. I'll send the letter of intent to Marcus Holloway this morning by messenger with a delivery receipt, signed by the representatives of SP Capital Investors. In the letter, we express our interest in acquiring his majority stake in Holloway Industries. And the offer? $1. $5 million for his 60% of the shares. It's a generous offer considering the company's real financial situation, but not so high that he'll be suspicious. How long do we give him to respond? 72 hours. It's a tight deadline, but justifiable. We'll say we have other prospects and need a quick answer. Good. And if he accepts? Then we meet, sign a preliminary agreement, do our formal due diligence, and in 3 weeks, a month at most, the company is yours. And if he refuses? I doubt it. Marcus Holloway is desperate. The banks are suffocating him. Liens, lawsuits. If he doesn't sell soon, he'll lose everything anyway. This offer is his lifeline, and he knows it. So we wait. Exactly. Now we wait. I hung up. I stared at the phone. The first move had been made. Like in the chess game Ryan taught me to play when he was a teenager. "Chess is patience, Mom," he would say. "It's not about winning quickly, it's about positioning yourself well and waiting for the exact moment to strike." Well, I had positioned myself. Now I just had to wait. Ryan came out of his room around 10. He was wearing an old t-shirt and sweatpants. His hair was messy, a 3-day beard. He looked tired, but calmer than in the previous days. "Good morning, Mom." "Good morning, my love. Did you sleep well?" "Better than yesterday. I had weird dreams about college, about my old friends, about when everything was simpler." I poured him coffee. We sat at the kitchen table. It started to rain outside, a light drizzle that tapped against the window in a steady rhythm. "Ryan, I have to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest with me." "Of course, Mom. Anything." "What are you going to do with your life? With Jessica, with everything?" He sighed. Long and deep. "Honestly, I don't know. Part of me wants to believe that Jessica will change, that she'll understand, that she'll apologize and we'll start over. But the rational part, that part knows it's impossible." "Why impossible?" "Because it's not just Jessica, is it? It's her whole family. It's the way they see the world. For them, people like us, people who come from nothing, who had to work for everything, are inferior. And no matter how many degrees I have, no matter how hard I try, I will never be good enough for them. So, what do you need to close this chapter?" Ryan stirred his coffee cup, stared at it intently, as if the answers were floating there in the dark liquid. "I need to see them fall, Mom. I know it sounds horrible. I know it sounds vengeful, but I need to see that they're not invincible, that they're not better than anyone, that their money and their last name don't protect them from everything." I smiled without him noticing. "Sometimes life takes care of that, my love. Sometimes people's arrogance is their own downfall. Do you believe in karma? I believe that actions have consequences, and Marcus Holloway has sown a lot of cruelty. Eventually, that harvest will come." Ryan nodded, drank his coffee. "You know what's the saddest part? That Jessica wasn't always like this. In the beginning, she was different, affectionate, attentive, or at least that's what I thought. Now I don't know if she was pretending or if her family changed her. People don't change that much, Ryan. What happens is that in the beginning, we all show our best version. Over time, our true nature comes to the surface. I guess so." We spent the rest of the morning in comfortable silence, watching old movies on TV, eating popcorn, like when he was a teenager and we would spend Sundays in our pajamas doing nothing productive. At 3 p.m., my cell phone vibrated. A message from Mr. Peterson. The letter has been delivered. Marcus Holloway received it personally. Now we wait for the response. I replied with a simple, perfect. Friday passed slowly, very slowly, like those days when you're waiting for test results or important news. Each hour felt like 3. Ryan went out to look for a job, sent out resumes, made calls, contacted old college classmates. He needed to keep busy. He needed to feel like he was doing something productive. I stayed home working on the computer, checking emails, taking care of matters for the company where I worked, but my mind was elsewhere. It was on that manila envelope that Marcus Holloway had received. It was on his face as he read the offer. It was on his desperation. On Saturday morning, early, my phone rang. Unknown number. Hello, Mrs. Carol Smith. Yes. Who's speaking? This is Patricia Dominguez, Marcus Holloway's executive assistant. Mr. Holloway would like to meet with you today, if possible. My heart raced. How did he know my name? How did he get my number? Meet with me. For what? Matters related to your son, Ryan. Mr. Holloway believes there are pending issues to resolve. I see. It was a trap or an attempt at manipulation. Marcus knew nothing about the purchase offer being linked to me. This was something else. Tell Mr. Holloway I have nothing to talk to him about. If Ryan has pending issues, he should resolve them directly with my son. Mrs. Smith, Mr. Holloway insists. He says it's important, that he has a proposal that could benefit Ryan. I'm not interested. Good day. I hung up. Ryan was at his bedroom door. Was that who I think it was? Marcus's assistant. He wants to meet with me. For what? I don't know, but it's nothing good. He probably wants to manipulate me. To convince me to convince you to go back. You're not going, are you? Of course not. But something bothered me. How did he get my personal number? What proposal did he have? Was it just manipulation, or was there something more? An hour later, Jessica called Ryan. He didn't answer. Then she called my house, the landline that almost no one used. I answered. Mrs. Smith, you need to listen to me. Jessica. My father is willing to give Ryan another chance, a real position, human resources manager, with a salary of $12,000 a month, full benefits, company car. I was silent, processing. Why now? Why the change? Because my father realized he was too hard on Ryan, that he went too far, and he wants to make things right. He wants us to be a family again. Lies. It was all lies. You could feel it. And do you care what Ryan wants? Or are you just following your father's orders? I care about my marriage, Mrs. Smith, and I know you want what's best for your son too. A good job, stability, a future. What I want is his dignity, and that is not negotiable. Look, Mrs. Smith, I'll be direct. Ryan is nothing without us. He won't find a job like this anywhere else. My father has contacts. He has power. He can help him or he can destroy him. It's your choice. There it was, the real threat behind the sweet offer. Tell your father that Ryan is not for sale and that his threats don't scare us. They're not threats, it's reality. And if you really loved your son, you would convince him to accept this opportunity. If you really loved my son, you wouldn't have allowed them to humiliate him. I hung up. My hands were shaking, not with fear but with rage. Ryan had heard everything from the living room. $12,000. Yes, it's more than you were making before. I know. Do you think I should accept it? What do you think? Ryan sat on the sofa, looked at the ceiling. I think it's a trap. I think they'll have me there under their control, constantly threatening me. I think they'll turn my life into a hell disguised as an opportunity. Then you have your answer. But I'm also scared, Mom. Scared I won't find anything better. Scared of getting stuck. Scared of being a failure. I sat next to him, took his hand. Ryan, listen to me carefully. You are not a failure. You are a man who had the courage to stand up for himself. That's more than most people can say. And as for finding a job, things have a way of working out. Trust me. Why are you so sure? Because I know the world, and I know that arrogance always falls. Always. That afternoon at 5 p.m. sharp, I received the call I was waiting for. Mr. Peterson? His voice sounded excited. Carol, he responded. He accepts the meeting. He wants to meet the representatives of SP Capital Investors. He wants to negotiate. I closed my eyes. I took a deep breath. When? He's proposing Tuesday. At his office. Perfect. But not at his office. On neutral ground. A hotel, the Plaza Hotel. A private meeting room. All right, I'll coordinate everything. Are you going? Not directly. I want you to go with the phantom investors. I'll be nearby. But he can't see me yet. Understood. This is happening, Carol. It's really happening. Yes. And when it's over, Marcus Holloway will understand what it's like to lose everything. I hung up. I looked out the window. The rain had stopped. The sky was beginning to clear, and for the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe. Ryan appeared with 2 cups of tea. Everything okay, Mom? Everything's perfect, my love. Everything's perfectly fine. Did something happen? Nothing important? Just work stuff. He looked at me with those eyes that knew me too well. Sometimes I feel like you're hiding something from me. I smiled. I'm just protecting you, Ryan, like I've always done. That night I had dinner with Ryan. I made BBQ, his favorite dish, the one I only make on special occasions. Why BBQ, Mom? It's nobody's birthday. Do I need a reason to celebrate that my son is home? We toasted with Coke. We talked about everything and nothing, about his plans, his dreams, what he wanted to do with his life. I want to help people, Mom. I don't know how yet, but I want to use everything I've learned to help people who are in situations like mine. People who are exploited. People who are humiliated at their jobs. That's a beautiful dream, Ryan. Do you think it's possible? I think anything is possible when your heart is in the right place. I hugged him before he went to sleep. I love you, son, and I'm so proud of you, more than words can express. I love you too, Mom, and thank you for not judging me, for being here, for everything. When I closed his bedroom door, I allowed myself a smile. On Tuesday, everything would change. On Tuesday, Marcus Holloway would meet the investors who would save him from bankruptcy without knowing that the woman he had despised the most, the mother of the idiot he made clean toilets, would be the one to buy his empire. And when he found out, when he understood what had happened, it would be too late. Justice is sometimes slow, but when it arrives in full. Monday was the longest day of my life. Every minute felt like an hour. Every hour felt like a full day. Mr. Peterson called me early. Everything is confirmed for tomorrow. 10 a.m. Presidential suite at the Plaza Hotel. Marcus Holloway has confirmed his attendance. He'll be accompanied by his lawyer and his accountant. And us. I'll be there with the 3 investors. We're bringing all the documentation, balance sheets, projections, market analysis. We'll look completely legitimate. Good. And me? You'll be in the adjoining room. There's a connecting door. You'll be able to hear everything through an audio system I'll install. When the time is right, I'll come in to consult with you, and then we'll do the reveal. Perfect. Carol, are you absolutely sure about this? Once we start, there's no going back. I've never been more sure of anything in my life, Mr. Peterson. All right. See you tomorrow at 8:30 at the hotel to get everything ready before Marcus arrives. I hung up. I looked at my reflection in the bathroom mirror. I was 57, with a few wrinkles around my eyes, gray hairs I no longer bothered to dye. But in my gaze, there was something I hadn't seen in years. Fire, determination, justice. Ryan came out of his room around 9. He was wearing a clean shirt, dress pants, he had shaved. For the first time in days, he looked like the man he was, not the shadow they had turned him into. Mom, I have a job interview. I was surprised. Really? Where? A logistics company. It's nothing fancy. Operations coordinator. The salary is lower than what I was making before, but it's honest. It's dignified. I smiled. My son was healing. I'm proud of you, Ryan. Go. Do well. Show them who you are. Thanks, Mom. And you, what are you doing today? I have a work meeting. Nothing important. Routine stuff. I was lying, but it was a necessary lie. I couldn't tell him anything yet. Not until it was all done. Ryan left around 10. I watched him go from the window. He walked differently, more upright, with more confidence. That family had broken him, but they hadn't destroyed him, and that was what mattered. I spent the rest of the day preparing. I chose my outfit for tomorrow, a black tailored suit, sober, elegant, professional, nothing flashy, nothing that drew too much attention. I wanted that when Marcus Holloway saw me, he would remember exactly the woman he had despised, the idiot's mother, the woman from Queens, the one who wasn't of his class, and I wanted to see his face when he understood that this same woman had just bought his company. At 6 p.m., Ryan came back from the interview. How did it go, my love? Well, I think. They said they'll call me this week. The manager was nice, asked normal questions, nothing humiliating, nothing strange, just a normal interview. See? The world is full of decent people. You just had the misfortune of meeting the Holloways first. Ryan smiled, a small but genuine smile. Jessica called again. What did she want? She said Friday is her mother's birthday, that Brenda wants me to go, that it would be an opportunity to smooth things over with the family. And what did you say? That I'd think about it. But I'm not going, Mom. I can't yet. No. You don't ever have to go if you don't want to. Those people don't deserve your presence. I know. But part of me feels like I owe them something, like I have to prove to them that I'm not what they think. Ryan, listen to me. You owe them nothing, absolutely nothing. And you don't have to prove anything to anyone. The people who matter see you for who you are. The rest doesn't matter. We had dinner together, pasta with homemade tomato sauce, simple, comforting, like the good old days. I couldn't sleep that night. I tossed and turned, imagining scenarios, rehearsing conversations in my head, preparing for the moment. At 5 a.m., I gave up. I got up, took a long shower, got ready carefully. Every detail had to be perfect. By 7, I was ready. Ryan was still asleep. I left a note on the kitchen table. I have a work meeting. I'll be back this afternoon. There's lasagna in the fridge. Heat it for 5 minutes. Love you, Mom. I left the house at 7:30. The traffic was heavy, but I arrived at the Plaza Hotel at 8:20. Mr. Peterson was waiting for me in the lobby. He was accompanied by 3 men in expensive suits, the phantom investors. Good morning, Carol. These are Robert Mendez, Santiago Villela, and Hector Fonseca, the investors from SP Capital Investors. I shook each of their hands. Serious professional men, real businessmen who had agreed to lend their names for a generous compensation and a hermetic confidentiality agreement. Mrs. Smith, said Robert Mendez, it's an honor to help you with this. My father was humiliated by men like Marcus Holloway his whole life, so for me, this is personal too. Thank you all for this. We went up to the presidential suite. It was elegant. A long mahogany table, leather chairs, large windows with a view of Central Park, coffee, water, and cookies already prepared. The lawyer installed the audio system, a small microphone hidden in a centerpiece, the headphones for me in the adjoining room. Test, he said in a low voice. I put on the headphones. I heard him perfectly. It works well. Now wait here. When it's time, I'll knock 3 times on the door. That will be your signal. I was left alone in the adjoining room, sitting on a sofa with the headphones on, my heart beating so hard I thought everyone would hear it. At 10 a.m. sharp, I heard voices, footsteps, the main door opening. Good morning, Marcus Holloway. A pleasure. That voice, that arrogant voice. Robert Mendez, the pleasure is all mine. These are my partners, Santiago Villela and Hector Fonseca. And this is our lawyer, Mr. Peterson. I heard chairs moving, people settling in, formal greetings. And these are my lawyer, Jorge Santana, and my accountant, Luis Esteves, said Marcus. More greetings, more empty pleasantries. Well, gentlemen, began Robert Mendez, thank you for meeting with us. As we expressed in our letter, SP Capital Investors is interested in acquiring a majority stake in Holloway Industries. Yes, I received your proposal, said Marcus. His voice sounded controlled, but there was tension underneath. $1, $5 million for 60% of my shares. It's an interesting offer. It's a fair offer considering the current state of the automotive market, replied Santiago Vilela. There was a silence. I could imagine Marcus weighing his words. The situation of my company is solid, gentlemen. We have active contracts, factories operating, qualified personnel. Factories operating at 30 and 40% capacity, said Mr. Peterson. His voice was cold, professional. Bank loans with 18% interest. Overdue bills for more than $1. $5 million lawsuits from suppliers. Shall I continue? Another silence. This one longer. You've done your homework. Of course. We don't invest blindly, Mr. Holloway. We know exactly what situation your company is in. And our offer is generous, considering all that. And what happens to me? You leave me out completely? Not necessarily, replied Robert Mendez. We are willing to have you stay on as Director of Operations with a fixed salary, but the strategic decisions would be made by the new board. Director of Operations in my own company. Technically, it would no longer be your company, Mr. Holloway. It would be ours. I heard a thud, probably Marcus slamming his fist on the table. I built this company from scratch. My father left it to me. It's my family's legacy. A legacy that is about to be completely lost if you don't accept this offer, said Mr. Peterson. The banks are preparing foreclosure proceedings. In 3 months, 4 at most, they will execute the guarantees. You will lose the company anyway. And not just the company, your house, your cars, everything you've mortgaged. This is extortion. This is business, Mr. Holloway. You made risky decisions. You expanded too quickly. You spent too much. Now you're paying the consequences. We are offering you a way out. Another silence. I could hear heavy breathing. And if I refuse your offer? Then we wish you good luck and hope the banks auction off the company. We'll probably get it for less than half of what we're offering now. Sons of A, Marcus muttered. Mr. Holloway, said Santiago Vilela, understand. We are not your enemies. We want this to work. We want to save the company, save the jobs. But we can't do that if you don't accept the reality of the situation. Minutes of silence. I could imagine Marcus thinking, calculating, looking for ways out that didn't exist. I need to speak with my lawyer in private. Of course, you can use the adjoining room if you like. We'll wait here. I heard chairs moving, footsteps, the door opening and closing. Then Marcus's voice, lower, desperate. Jorge, how screwed am I? The lawyer sighed. Very, Marcus. They're right. The banks are suffocating you. I have 3 foreclosure notices on my desk. If you don't pay in 30 days, they'll execute. And when they start executing, everything will come crashing down like dominoes. And this offer is good. Better than I expected. Honestly, it gets you out of debt, leaves you with some cash, and allows you to stay with the company, even if no longer as the owner. I can't accept this. What will people say? What will my family say? Would you rather they say you went bankrupt, that you lost everything? Because that's what will happen if you don't accept. Another long silence. My father would kill me if he knew this. Your father isn't here. You are, and you have to make a decision today. I need more money. 2 million? No, 1.5. You can try, but I don't think they'll accept. They know you're desperate. I heard footsteps again, the door opening. Gentlemen, you can come back in. The investors returned. Have you made a decision, Mr. Holloway? Asked Robert Mendez. I have a counteroffer. 2 million for the 60%. 1.5 is our final offer. And final. Take it or we walk away now. A silence that seemed to last forever. All right. 1.5. Perfect. Then let's prepare the documents. We need you to sign a preliminary agreement today, and in 2 weeks we'll close the deal. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. We've already done our due diligence. We already know what we're buying. We just need to formalize the paperwork, transfers, registrations. And my position, how much will I earn as Director of Operations? Hector Fonseca spoke for the first time. 15 $1,000 a month, plus standard benefits, no bonuses, no stock options, no profit sharing. $15 I earn 10 times that. You used to earn 10 times that. Now your circumstances are different. Take it or leave it. Marcus didn't answer. The silence was answer enough. Well, said Mr. Peterson. "I'll consult with our principal investors. There's one matter we need to clarify, a personal issue. Wait here." I heard footsteps approaching my door. 3 knocks. It was time. I took off the headphones, stood up, took a deep breath. Mr. Peterson opened the door. It's time. I walked towards the main room. My legs were shaking, but my mind was clear. The lawyer opened the door. I walked in. Marcus Holloway was sitting at the end of the table, his lawyer and accountant on either side. When he saw me, his face transformed. Confusion, then recognition, then disbelief. "Carol." "Hello, Marcus. What are you doing here?" I sat in the main chair at the head of the table, in front of him. "Mr. Holloway," said Mr. Peterson, "allow me to introduce the principal investor of SP Capital Investors, Mrs. Carol Smith." The color drained from Marcus's face. No, this is a joke." "It's no joke," I said. My voice sounded calm, cold. "I'm the one buying your company, Marcus." He stood up. His chair fell backward. "That's impossible. You don't have that kind of money. You live in Queens. You're a what? What am I, Marcus? A hardworking woman? Someone who's not in your class? Go on, I'd like to hear." His lawyer grabbed his arm. "Marcus, calm down. I will not calm down. This is fraud. It's a conspiracy. I'm going to. You're going to what?" I interrupted. "Sue me? With what money? Everything is perfectly legal. Ask your lawyer." Marcus's lawyer glanced at the papers. He swallowed hard. "It's legal, Marcus. Completely legal." Marcus looked at me with pure hatred. "Why? Why are you doing this?" I stood up, walked towards him slowly, looked him straight in the eyes. "Really? You're asking why? You made my son clean toilets, a son with a university degree that cost me years of sacrifice. You called him an idiot. You humiliated him in front of clients, in front of employees, in front of your own daughter. I was teaching him. I don't care what you thought you were teaching. You destroyed my son. And now, Marcus Holloway, I'm going to destroy the only thing that matters to you, your company. Please." His voice broke. "Please, Carol. We can work this out. We can. There's nothing to work out. You've already signed the agreement. You've already accepted the offer. In 2 weeks, this company will be mine, and you will learn what it's like to work for someone else, what it's like to take orders, what it's like to feel small. I'll sue you. Go ahead. Sue me. Spend the little money you'll have left on lawyers. Meanwhile, I'll be sitting in your office making the decisions, running your company." Marcus slumped into a chair, covered his face with his hands. "This can't be happening. But it is happening. And you know what the best part is? You brought this on yourself. Your arrogance, your excessive spending, your bad decisions. I just accelerated the inevitable. I moved closer. I crouched down to be at his level. The next time you want to humiliate someone, make sure that person's mother doesn't have the resources to destroy you." I stood up. I looked at Mr. Peterson. "Prepare the final documents. I want this closed as soon as possible." "Yes, Mrs. Smith." I walked towards the door. Before leaving, I turned around. "Oh, Marcus, one more thing. About that director of operations position. Unfortunately, we won't be needing you. But if you want, I can offer you something in maintenance. I heard we need people to clean the toilets. Interested?" I left before he could answer. In the hallway, I allowed myself to breathe. My hands were shaking, but not from fear, from victory, from justice, from peace. I left the hotel with my head held high. The midday sun blinded me for a moment, but I felt lighter than ever, as if a weight I had been carrying for months had finally been lifted. Mr. Peterson caught up with me in the parking garage. "Carol, that was incredible. I've never seen Marcus Holloway so disarmed. Did he sign everything?" "Yes. The preliminary agreement is signed. In 2 weeks, we'll close the final transaction. The company will be yours. And him?" He left in a rage. He threatened to sue, to go to the press, but his lawyer calmed him down. Explained that everything is legal, that he has no grounds to fight. I smiled. Good. Now comes the important part. I want Ryan to be appointed CEO of Holloway Industries immediately after the closing. Are you sure? It's a lot of responsibility, and the company needs a deep restructuring. My son graduated with honors. He has the skills. He just needs the opportunity. And I'm hiring you as legal counsel. You'll help him with everything. Do you accept?" The lawyer nodded. "It would be an honor." "Perfect. I'll call you tomorrow to sort out the details." I drove back home with a peaceful heart, but I knew the hardest part was still to come, telling Ryan. I arrived around 2 p.m. Ryan was in the living room watching the news. He seemed calm, relaxed. "How was your meeting, Mom?" "Good. Very good, actually. What kind of meeting was it?" I sat next to him, took his hand. "Ryan, I need to tell you something important." His expression changed. Concern. "Are you okay? Did something happen?" "I'm perfectly fine, but there's something I did for you, and you need to know." I told him everything. From the moment I saw him cleaning that toilet, from the call to Mr. Peterson, the investigation, my savings, the shell company, the offer, and finally, the reveal that morning. Ryan listened to me in silence. His face went through 1,000 emotions: surprise, disbelief, astonishment, and finally, tears. "Mom, you bought Marcus Holloway's company?" "Yes. I spent all my savings, every penny, but I'd do it again 1,000 times." He covered his face with his hands, his shoulders shook. "I can't believe you did this for me. It's too much. You're my son, Ryan. There's no such thing as too much when it comes to you." He hugged me, cried on my shoulder like when he was a child. But these tears were different. They weren't of pain. They were of liberation. "And now what's going to happen?" he asked when he had calmed down. "Now you're going to be the CEO of Holloway Industries." "What?" "No, Mom, I can't. I'm not ready. I don't know if—" "Listen to me, Ryan. You studied for this, you prepared for this, and you'll have all the support you need. Mr. Peterson will advise you. I'll be there, but the company needs a leader, and that leader is you. And Marcus. Marcus won't be there anymore." I terminated his contract. Ryan closed his eyes, took a deep breath. "I don't know what to say. Don't say anything. Just get ready. Because in 2 weeks, everything changes." That night, my cell phone didn't stop ringing. Calls from unknown numbers, messages, but I didn't answer any. The next day, Jessica showed up at my door. It was 9 a.m. Ryan had gone out to run some errands. I opened the door and found her standing there, without makeup, her hair disheveled, her eyes red. "I need to talk to you." "We have nothing to talk about, Jessica. Please, just 5 minutes." I let her in. We sat in the living room. The atmosphere was tense, cold. "My father is devastated," she began. "He hasn't left his room since yesterday. My mother is hysterical. The whole family is in crisis." A pause. "And how could you do this? How could you destroy my family like this?" I laughed without humor, without joy. "How could I? Are you really asking me that? Your father humiliated my son for months. You laughed while he did it. Your family treated us like dirt, and now you come asking for compassion? My father was just being tough. It's his way of teaching. He didn't deserve this." "Your father wasn't teaching anything. He was being abusive, and now he's paying the consequences." Jessica stood up. "You're a vengeful, cruel woman. Ryan will realize it sooner or later." Ryan has already realized a lot of things, including that he married the wrong woman. "I love Ryan." "No. You love the idea of controlling him, of having him under your thumb. But that's over. He'll come back to me. He always does, because he needs me." "Jessica, leave. Go before I call security." She left, slamming the door, but not before turning around and saying, "This isn't over. My family has lawyers. We have connections. We'll get back what's ours. Try. But the only thing you'll get is to lose more money on lawyers." When Ryan came back, I told him about Jessica's visit. "She came here?" "Yes, to threaten me, to say they're going to fight." Ryan sighed. "I need to talk to her, to clear things up once and for all." "Are you sure?" "Yes. I need to close this chapter for good." That afternoon, Ryan went to the apartment he had shared with Jessica. I stayed home waiting, nervous. He returned 3 hours later. He looked tired, but at peace. "How did it go?" I told her I want a divorce. that there's no going back, that we ended the day she let her father humiliate me. And what did she say? She cried. She begged. She promised she would change, that her father would change, but I don't believe her anymore. I don't feel anything for her anymore, Mom. It's like all that love just evaporated. True love doesn't evaporate, Ryan. What you felt was an illusion, and illusions shatter when reality hits. I guess so. And the divorce? I've already spoken with a lawyer. We're starting the process next week. She has no grounds to fight. We have no children. We have no shared assets. It will be quick. I felt relieved. My son was finally free. The following days were a roller coaster. Marcus Holloway tried everything. He called partners, suppliers, clients, trying to sabotage the sale, but Mr. Peterson blocked every attempt. The contracts were signed, the agreements were legal, there was no escape. Brenda Holloway sent me a long message, full of insults, veiled threats, pleas disguised as indignation. I deleted it without finishing it. On Friday, a week before the final closing, I received a call from a number I didn't recognize. Mrs. Smith? Yes, who is this? I'm Alessandra Holloway, Marcus's sister. Silence. What do you want? I just wanted to say thank you. What? My brother is a terrible man, arrogant, cruel. He's destroyed a lot of people over the years, including me. So, thank you for doing what I never had the courage to do. She hung up before I could respond. That call left me thinking. Marcus Holloway hadn't just hurt Ryan, he had hurt a lot of people, and now he was finally getting what he deserved. The night before the final closing, I had dinner with Ryan. I made his favorite dish, seafood stew, rice, farofa. Tomorrow everything changes, he said. Yes, tomorrow you start your new life. I'm scared, Mom. That's normal, but you're also ready. Trust yourself. We toasted with red wine. We looked out the window at the city lights. I still wonder if I did the right thing by quitting that day, reflected Ryan. I looked him straight in the eyes. And you? What would you have done in my place? Tuesday arrived with a clear sky, one of those days when the city wakes up without a cloud, as if the universe were celebrating. Ryan got up early. I heard him in the shower, then choosing his best suit. The charcoal gray one I had given him as a graduation present, the gray tie he had never worn because Jessica said it was too plain. We had breakfast together, coffee, cheese bread, fruit. Neither of us ate much. Our nerves had closed our stomachs. Ready? I asked. No, but I don't think anyone is ever ready for something like this. We arrived at Mr. Peterson's office at 9:30. The signing of the documents was scheduled for 10. In the meeting room were already the phantom investors, the accountant, several lawyers, and in the corner, like a defeated man, Marcus Holloway. He looked 10 years older than the last time. Deep dark circles, ashen skin, wrinkled suit. There was nothing left of that arrogance that characterized him. When he saw us enter, his eyes filled with hatred, but he said nothing. He just looked away. Good morning, greeted Mr. Peterson. Let's proceed. For 2 hours, we signed documents, transfers, minutes, powers of attorney. Each signature was another nail in Marcus Holloway's coffin. Finally, the lawyer held up the last sheet. With this, the transaction is closed. Holloway Industries now belongs to SP Capital Investors, represented by Mrs. Carol Smith. Marcus signed with a trembling hand, threw the pen on the table. I hope you're happy, he said without looking at me. It's not about happiness, Marcus. It's about justice. He stood up, grabbed his briefcase. And now? What? Are you going to humiliate me like you think I humiliated your son? No, I'm not like you. Then what do you want? I want you to leave, to get out of this office, to never come near my son again, and to learn that people's dignity is not a game. Marcus looked at me with contempt. You don't know the first thing about running a company. You'll go bankrupt in 6 months. And then, when you come crawling back begging for my help, I'll be there laughing. I won't need your help. I have something you never had. What? Humility, and a son who knows how to work with dignity. Marcus looked at Ryan, opened his mouth as if to say something, but stopped, shook his head, and left. When the door closed, Silence filled the room. Mr. Peterson broke the moment. Mrs. Smith, congratulations. You are officially the new owner of Holloway Industries. I didn't feel euphoria. I didn't feel triumph. I just felt peace. Thank you, Mr. Peterson. When can we take official possession? Right now, if you want. I have the keys to the facilities, the access codes, everything. I looked at Ryan. Shall we go see your new office? We drove to the facilities on the Upper East Side. That building I had visited months ago looking for my son. That place where I had found him broken. Now it was ours. We walked into the reception. The young woman at the desk looked at us, confused. Good morning. Do you have an appointment? We don't need an appointment, I said calmly. I'm Carol Smith, the new owner of this company. Gather all the employees in the main conference room in 30 minutes. Her face turned pale. Yes, ma'am, right away. We went up to the 5th floor, the executive office, the one that had been Marcus Holloway's. Ryan went in first, looked around, the mahogany desk, the diplomas on the wall, the panoramic view of the city. This is surreal, he murmured. This is yours. You earned it. No, Mom. You gave it to me. I just opened the door. Now you have to walk through it. Half an hour later, all the employees were gathered, about 120 people, some nervous, others curious, all wondering what was happening. I stepped onto the small stage. Ryan by my side. Good morning. My name is Carol Smith. As of today, I am the new owner of Holloway Industries. Murmurs, glances, confusion. I know many of you are worried about your jobs, your families, your future. So I'll be direct. No one will be fired. No one's salary will be reduced. In fact, we will be conducting a complete compensation review to ensure everyone is paid fairly. More murmurs, but this time of relief. This company has been through difficult times. I know that many of you have worked without seeing raises, some even with delayed salaries. That ends today. All pending payments will be settled this week. Applause. Small at first, then stronger. I want to introduce someone. This is Ryan Smith, a graduate in business administration, and as of today, your new CEO. Ryan stepped forward. Some recognized him. I saw faces of surprise, of disbelief. He spoke with a firm voice. Many of you saw me a few months ago in difficult circumstances. Some of you witnessed how I was treated here, and I want you to know one thing. I will never forget what it's like to be on the other side. I will never forget what humiliation feels like. And for that reason, I promise that in this company, everyone will be treated with dignity. Everyone. The silence was absolute. It won't be easy. The company has debts, it has problems, but we will overcome them together, as a team, not as bosses and employees, but as colleagues. This time, the applause was spontaneous, genuine. After the meeting, several employees approached Ryan to shake his hand, to wish him luck. An older man in a mechanic's jumpsuit hugged him. Sir, I was there. When Mr. Holloway made you clean, I was so angry, but I couldn't say anything. I have a family to support. But I want you to know, many of us admired what you did, leaving with dignity. Ryan had tears in his eyes. Thank you. That means a lot. We spent the rest of the day reviewing documents, balance sheets, contracts, debts. The situation was worse than we thought. Marcus Holloway had left a mess. Mom, this is going to take years to fix, Ryan said that night. We were in his new office. It was past 9 p.m. The city glowed below. I know, but we'll manage. What if I can't? What if Marcus was right? What if I run the company into the ground in 6 months? I approached him, put my hands on his shoulders. Ryan, listen to me. Marcus Holloway ran this company into the ground with his arrogance, with his ego. You have something he never had: humility, empathy, and a will to do things right. That's worth more than any degree or experience. Do you really believe that? With all my heart. That night on my way home, I received a message from an unknown number. Mrs. Smith, I'm Louise. I used to work as an accountant at Holloway Industries. I resigned 6 months ago because I couldn't take Mr. Holloway's abuse anymore. I heard what happened today, and I want you to know that if you need help, I'm available. I know the company better than anyone, and I would love to be part of this new chapter. With no hard feelings, just a desire to do things right. I showed the message to Ryan. See? Good people recognize good people. You're going to be surrounded by a great team. Ryan smiled. For the first time in months, I saw real hope in his eyes. When we got home, we found a surprise. Jessica was sitting on the steps of the building. When she saw us, she stood up. Ryan, please, I need to talk to you. Jessica, I already told you, just 5 minutes, I'm begging you. Ryan looked at me. I nodded. I'll go up. You two talk. I went up to the apartment, but I left the window open. I could hear their voices. Ryan, I made a mistake. I know. I should have defended you. I should have. You should have loved me, Jessica. That's what you should have done. I do love you. I always have. You loved the idea of me, the obedient husband, the man your family could control. That's not true. Then why did you smile? Why did you laugh while your father was humiliating me? Silence. That's what I thought. Jessica, I wish you the best, I really do. But our journey together is over. Because of the company? Because now you have power? It was over the day you chose your family over me. Over us. I heard footsteps, the building door closing. Ryan came up minutes later. He looked tired but at peace. Are you okay? Yes, I am now. That door is closed. That night we slept peacefully, knowing that the hardest part was over, but also knowing that the most important part was just beginning. 5 years have passed since that day of humiliation in the bathroom. 5 years since I saw my son on his knees cleaning that toilet while Marcus Holloway called him an idiot. Weeks after that, I bought the company. And now, after everything, after the rebuilding, I look back and see that it was worth every penny, every sleepless night, every risk I took. And today, looking out my apartment window, I smile. Holloway Industries was a completely different company. Ryan worked day and night, restructured departments, negotiated with suppliers, won back clients that Marcus had lost through his arrogance. The factories in Chicago and Houston were now operating at 70% capacity. The employees received their salaries on time. Many even received bonuses for the first time in years. I remained as chairman of the board, but I let Ryan run everything. He made the decisions. I was just there to support him when he needed it. One afternoon in March, Mr. Peterson called me. Carol, I have some good news or bad news depending on how you look at it. Marcus Holloway has filed a lawsuit against you and Ryan. On what grounds? Fraud, conspiracy, breach of trust, all baseless. His lawyer has already contacted me. They want to reach a settlement. What kind of settlement? They want you to sell the company back to them for half of what you paid. Ha. Tell his lawyer there's no deal. And if they want to fight in court, to bring it on. We have all the documents. Everything was legal. The lawsuit was dismissed 3 weeks later. The judge said there was no evidence to proceed. Marcus had to pay the court costs, another $20, $11 he didn't have. In May, I heard from an acquaintance that Marcus had sold the house in the Hamptons. He moved into an apartment in the Bronx, small. Modest, nothing compared to what he had. Brenda left him. They divorced in June. She took what little was left and went to live with her sister in Cleveland. Jessica remarried to an older, wealthy businessman, the kind her family always wanted for her. But I heard that didn't work out either. Still, whenever I remember her, I don't think of the expensive dresses or the parties. I think of that afternoon in the reception of what was now Smith Industries, with her resume folder clutched to her chest, asking for a job at a company that she and her family once thought was far beneath the Holloway name. There, watching my son, calm and firm, deny her the position with respect but without giving up his own dignity. I understood that her karma didn't come in the form of a scandal. It came in the form of a mirror. She saw herself in the exact place where she had helped put Ryan years before, and she left there diminished, not because we humiliated her, but because life simply returned what she had sown. I later heard, through mutual acquaintances, that the second marriage didn't work out either. Jessica divorced again and moved back in with her mother in Cleveland. Brenda now works as a saleswoman in a boutique. Ironic, considering how they used to look down on people who worked. I don't wish them ill. They are simply no longer part of our story. What life had to teach them, it has taught. The pain they caused me became fuel, and the humiliation they allowed my son to suffer became a brick in the foundation of his new company and his new life. Ryan comes to visit me every Sunday. He brings Diana, we eat together, we talk about everything, about the baby, about the company, about life. Mom, he told me last Sunday, I want you to be the baby's godmother. It would be an honor, my love. And I want you to know something. Everything I am, everything I have, I owe to you. No, Ryan, you earned it. I just did what any mother would do. Not any mother. Most would have stayed silent. You fought. I hugged him. My boy, my man, my pride. Sometimes people ask me if I regret spending all my savings to buy that company. And I always answer the same thing. Not for a second, because it was never about money. Never. It was about dignity, about justice, about showing my son that no one, absolutely no one, has the right to destroy another human being. The money came back. The company thrived. I recovered my investment and more, but the most important thing I recovered was seeing my son shine again, seeing him walk with his head held high, seeing him lead with empathy, seeing him love. That is priceless. A few months ago, a woman stopped me on the street. Are you Carol Smith? Yes, do we know each other? No, but my husband used to work at Mr. Holloway's old company, and I just wanted to say thank you for treating him with dignity, for paying him fairly, for giving him back his self-esteem. She left before I could respond. Those are the moments that matter. Not the money, not the power, but knowing you made a difference in someone's life. If my story helps a single woman to open her eyes, to defend her children, to not remain silent in the face of injustice, it will have been worth it. Because in the end, life isn't about how much you have, it's about how much you gave, about who you protected, about what legacy you leave. And my legacy is simple. A son who knows his mother will always be there, that no one has the right to humiliate him, that dignity is not negotiable. Tomorrow, I'm going to the company, not to work, just to visit, to see Ryan in his office, sitting at that desk that once belonged to Marcus Holloway. And I will smile because justice, although it sometimes takes a while, always arrives. And when it does, it's sweet. Very sweet. Thank you for listening to the end. Now tell me what you thought of this story. Do you think I went too far, or did the right thing? Leave your opinion in the comments. I want to read them all. And if you know a warrior mom who would do anything for her children, tag her below. Share this story. Sometimes this is exactly what someone needs to hear today. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next stories. Every day a woman, a life lesson. May God bless you and your family. Until the next story, bye.